Hello, friends. I will continue with daily Bible reading, and we have read Genesis 1 through 11, which in many ways is called the prehistory of the Bible. Partly that means that um, it is ancient history that we don't really know the dates for per se. Um, and one of the earliest writings we have, um, or that scholars believe is one of the earliest writings in the Bible, is the book of Job. So, since we're going to be reading in somewhat of a chronological order, I'm going to read Job chapters 1 through 5 today. There was a man who lived in the land of Uz. His name was Job. He was honest. He did what was right. He had respect for God and avoided evil. Job had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels. He owned 500 pairs of oxen and 500 donkeys. He also had a large number of servants. He was the most important man among all the people in the East. His sons used to give feasts in their homes on their birthdays. They would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. The time for enjoying good food would end, and then Job would make plans for his children to be made pure and clean. He would sacrifice a burnt offering for each of them. He would do it early in the morning. He would think, perhaps my children have sinned. Maybe they have spoken evil things against God in their hearts. That's why Job always did for his children when he felt they had sinned. One day angels came to the Lord. Satan also came with them. The Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered, "From traveling all around the earth. I have been going from one end of it to the other." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you thought about my servant Job? There isn't anyone on earth like him. He is honest. He does what is right. He has respect for God and avoids evil." "You always give Job everything he needs," Satan replied. "That's why he has respect for you. Haven't you guarded him and his family? Haven't you taken care of everything he has? You have blessed everything he does. His flocks and herds are spread all through the land. And by now you reach out your hand and strike down everything he has. Then I'm sure he will speak evil things against you. In fact, he'll do it right in front of you." The Lord said to Satan, "All right, I am handing everything he has over to you, but do not touch the man himself." Then Satan left the Lord and went on his way. One day, Job's sons and daughters were at their oldest brother's house. They were enjoying good food and drinking wine. During that time, a messenger came to Job. He said, "The oxen were plowing, the donkeys were eating grass near them. Then the Sabaeans attacked us and carried off the animals. They killed some of the servants with their swords. I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." And while he was still speaking, a second messenger came. He said, "God sent lightning from the sky. It struck the sheep and killed them. It burned up some of the servants. I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, a third messenger came. He said, "The Chaldeans separated themselves into 3 groups. They attacked your camels and carried them off. They killed the rest of the servants with their swords. I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, a fourth messenger came. He said, "Your sons and daughters were at their oldest brother's house. They were enjoying good food and drinking wine, and suddenly a strong wind blew in from the desert. It struck the 4 corners of the house. The house fell down on your children, and now all of them are dead. I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." After Job had heard all these reports, he got up and tore his robe. He shaved his head, and he fell down to the ground, and he worshipped the Lord, and he said, "I was born naked, and I'll leave naked. The Lord has given, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." In spite of everything, Job didn't sin by blaming God for doing anything wrong. On another day, angels came to the Lord. Satan also came to him along with them. The Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan said, "From traveling all around the earth. I've been going from one end of it to the other." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you thought about my servant Job? There isn't anyone on earth like him. He is honest. He does what is right. He has respect for God and avoids evil. You tried to turn him against me. You wanted me to destroy him without any reason, but he still continues to be faithful." Satan replied, "A man will give everything he has to save himself." So Job was willing to give up the lives of his family to save his own life. But now reach out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and then I'm sure he will speak evil things against you. In fact, he'll do it right in front of you." The Lord said to Satan, "All right, I'm handing him over to you, but you must spare his life." Then Satan left the Lord and went on his way. He sent painful sores on Job. They covered him from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. He got part of a broken pot. He used it to scrape his skin. He did it while he was sitting in ashes. His wife said to him, "Are you still continuing to be faithful to the Lord? Speak evil things against him and die." Job replied, "You are talking like a foolish woman. We accept good things from God, so should we also accept trouble when he sends it?" In spite of everything, Job didn't say anything that was sinful. Job had 3 friends named Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamite. They heard all about all the troubles that had come to Job, so they started getting out from their homes. They agreed to meet together. They wanted to go and show their concern for Job. They wanted to comfort him. When they got closer to where he lived, they could see him, but they could hardly recognize him. They began to weep out loud. They tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. Then they sat down on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights. No one said a word to him. That's because they saw how much he was suffering. After a while, Job opened his mouth to speak. He cursed the day he had been born. He said, "May the day I was born be wiped out. May the night be wiped away when people said, 'A boy is born.' May that day turn into darkness. May God in heaven not care about it. May no light shine on it. May gloom and total darkness take it back. May a cloud settle over it. May blackness cover it up. May deep darkness take over the night I was born. May it not be included among the days of the year. May it never appear in any of the months. May no children ever have been born on that night. May no shout of joy be heard in it. May people say evil things about that day. May people ready to wake the sea monster Leviathan say evil things about that day. May its morning stars become dark. May it lose all hope of ever seeing daylight. May it not see the first light of the morning sun. It didn't keep my mother from letting me be born. It didn't keep my eyes from seeing trouble. Why didn't I die when I was born? Why didn't I die as I came out of my mother's body? Why was I placed on her knees? Why did her breast give me milk? If all of that hadn't happened, I'd be lying down in peace. I'd be asleep and at rest in the grave. I'd be with the great earth's kings and rulers. They had built for themselves places that are now destroyed. I'd be with princes who used to have gold. They had filled their houses with silver. Why wasn't I buried like a baby who was born dead? Why wasn't I buried like a child who never saw the light of day? In the grave, sinful people don't cause trouble anymore, and there tired people find rest. Prisoners also enjoy peace there. They don't have a slave driver shouting at them anymore. The least important and most important people are there, and there the slaves are set free from their owners. Why should those who suffer ever be born? Why should life be given to those whose spirits are bitter? Why is life given to those who long for death that doesn't come? Why is it given to those who'd rather search for death than for hidden treasure? Why is life given to those who are actually happy and glad when they reach the grave? Why is life given to a man like me? God hasn't told me what will happen to me. He has surrounded me with nothing but trouble. Sighs have become my food every day. Groans pour out of me like water. What I was afraid of has come on me. What I worried about has happened to me. I don't have any peace or quiet. I can't find any rest. All I have is trouble. And then Eliphaz, the Temanite, replied, "Job, suppose someone tries to talk to you. Will that make you uneasy? I can't keep from speaking up. Look, you taught many people. You made weak hands strong. Your words helped those who had fallen down. You made shaky knees strong. And now trouble comes to you, and you are unhappy about it. It strikes you down, and you are afraid. Shouldn't you worship God and trust in God? Shouldn't your honest life give you hope? Here's something to think about. Have people who aren't guilty ever been wiped out? Have honest people ever been completely destroyed? Here's what I've observed. People gather a crop from what they plant. If they plant evil and trouble, that's what they will harvest. The breath of God destroys them. The blast of his anger wipes them out. Powerful lions might roar and growl, but their teeth are broken. Lions die because they don't have any food. Then their cubs are scattered. A message came to me in secret. It was as quiet as a whisper. I had a scary dream one night. I was sound asleep. Fear and trembling seized me. That made every bone in my body shake. A spirit glided past my face. The hair on my body stood on end. Then the spirit stopped, but I couldn't tell what it was. Something stood there in front of me. I heard a soft voice. It said, "Can a human being be more right than God? Can even a strong man be more pure than the God who made him? God doesn't trust those who serve him. He even brings charges against his angels. So he'll certainly find fault with human beings. After all, they are made out of dust. They can be crushed more easily than a moth. Between sunrise and sunset, they are broken to pieces. Nobody ever notices. They disappear forever. Like a tent that falls down, they get weak. They die because they didn't follow God's wisdom." Eliphaz continued, "Call out if you want to, Job, but who will answer you? Which one of the holy angels will you turn to? Anger kills foolish people. Jealousy destroys those who are childish. I saw that foolish people were having success, but suddenly harm came to their homes. Their children aren't safe at all. They lose their case in court. No one speaks up for them. Hungry people eat up the crops of the foolish. They even take the food that grows among thorns. Thirsty people long for the wealth of the foolish. Hard times don't just grow out of the soil. Trouble doesn't just jump out of the ground. People are born to have trouble. That's just as sure as sparks fly up. If I were you, I'd make my appeal to God. I'd bring my case to be judged by him. God does wonderful things that can't be understood. God does miracles that can't even be counted. God sends rain on the earth. God sends water on the countryside. God lifts up people who are lowly in spirit. God lifts up those who are sad. God keeps them safe. God stops the evil plans of those who are clever. The work of their hands doesn't succeed. Some people think they are wise, but God catches them in their own tricks. God sweeps away the evil plans of sinful people. Darkness covers them in the daytime. At noon they feel their way around as if it were night. God saves needy people from the cutting words of their enemies. God saves them from their power. So poor people have hope, and God shuts the mouths of those who don't treat others fairly. Blessed is the person God corrects, so don't hate the mighty one's training. God wounds, but God also bandages up those he wounds. God harms, but his hands also heal those he harms. From 6 troubles God will save you. Even if you're in trouble 7 times, no harm will come to you. When there isn't enough food, God will keep you from dying. When you go into battle, God won't let a sword strike you down. God will keep you safe from words that can hurt you. You won't need to be afraid when everything is being destroyed. You will laugh when things are being destroyed. You will enjoy life even when there isn't enough food. You won't be afraid of wild animals. You will make a covenant with the stones in the fields. They won't keep your crops from growing. Even wild animals will be at peace with you. You will know that the tent you live in is secure. You will check out your property. You will see that nothing is missing. You can be sure that you will have a lot of children. They will be as many as the blades of grass on the earth. You will go down to the grave while you are still very strong. You will be like a crop that is gathered at the right time. We have carefully studied all these things, and they are true. So pay attention to them and apply them to yourself. Now, friends, let me just say a quick word about this. We never want to take scripture out of context, and so we really have to read the entire book of Job to get what is being said here. We have to remember that there's more to come, and we must not get too anxious about the words we hear, because we have to separate words that are being spoken as part of a story versus the message that God wants us to hear. And we have to read Job also in the context of the entire Bible, really. So I just want to say that because we could easily take verses out of context and apply them in ways that they were never meant to be applied. And so we'll keep reading through Job, and then we'll come back to Genesis. We'll see you next time.